Old RFK Stadium is finally gotten the green light to be demolished. What does this actually mean for the Washington Commanders? We're going to talk about it in this podcast. And welcome back to another podcast here on the Washington Football Maniacs channel. My name is Greg. I am your host, and this channel is dedicated to the Washington Commanders news and commentary. If you're down with that, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel, and when you do, also hit that notification bell so you won't miss any other video releases. So RFK Stadium has finally gotten approved to be demolished. What does this mean for the Washington Commanders franchise right now? Well, to me, it means that not only has there been a green light to demolish an old stadium, but it's now prepping this site to be a site that can have something else built on it. And to me, I think that this is setting up the very, very likelihood that you're going to see the Washington Commanders having their new stadium at the old RFK site. Back maybe, honestly, last summer, I would have told you that it was extremely likely, more so that Virginia's probably going to wind up grabbing the Washington Commanders simply because they had an area where it looked like there was going to be more land itself for infrastructure and things like that. And then, with votes and stuff and, not really getting the help from the citizens, I guess, like we felt it might be a likelihood that would happen. Suddenly, the RFK site really seems to be back in play. Now, no one's really talking about Maryland as much. And honestly, I think having the team right back in the heart of D.C. is where they should be. Now, I'm a native Virginian, so, when I heard about them moving to Virginia, I thought it was about time because Virginia doesn't have an NFL team, and it would be nice for Virginia to have this team. But overall, you look at, and I'm a big history guy as far as, don't sever this current franchise away from its history. Now, I think being able to bring them back to the old RFK site is giving them the history, the link to the connection to the history that they had before. I never got a chance to go to RFK to watch any games, unfortunately. I was too young back then. My dad, he was the sole breadwinner, so he didn't really have the money to take us to professional games, and plus we didn't really do a lot of traveling as a family back in those days either. So he really was not about to take us all the way up to DC to watch a football game, although I would have loved that as a kid. He did talk about taking us to a football game, but I think he meant a high school game, honestly. But I do have fond memories of watching the team play in RFK on television. And yeah, I didn't know anything about the structure itself. I mean, I was a kid, I didn't care. But I just have a lot of fond memories of how much they won in that stadium. Like, yeah, the stadium seemed pretty plain. I mean, it really looked like it didn't have like what I would consider a lot of the characteristics maybe that you would see at Soldier Field, for instance. Like when I saw games at Soldier Field, it's like, oh, you're seeing these columns, you're seeing like the Bears are there, right? And then RFK just I don't know what it was. It didn't look that fancy on television, but it got the job done. And, fans loved being there because they had the opportunity, of course, of being able to, watch a team win perennially year in and year out, make Super Bowls and that sort of thing. So, when they moved to the new stadium back in, I believe it was 97, 98, somewhere around there, um, there it seemed like things kind of changed, right? Like, yeah, it's a brand new stadium. It's a brand new stadium, but it just it was just a bowl. It was just this huge bowl, and I have been to FedEx several times, and yeah, I mean, what can you say? It's a football stadium. It's bigger than what RFK was, but it was it just wasn't that impressive to me. Honestly, I've been to the was the Bank of America Stadium for the Panthers, and I actually enjoyed that stadium more because I could really be way up on the sides of the nosebleed section. And sorry, my cat is playing here, and you still have like almost like the perfect view of the game, just like you would on TV. I mean, I love going to games down there, but just wrong teams playing down there, right? But overall, it's like they got to FedEx, and just FedEx was just like not a lot of great memories, right? And so now that it looks like there's going to be a change in venue in the next few years, probably won't be by 2027, but I would probably suggest that before this decade is over, you are going to see this team in a new stadium, or at least that a new stadium will be hopefully built and ready by at least 2030. Wow, man. Talking about the year 2030 just makes me feel so old. But having them back at the RFK site, I think, would be fantastic for all the fans. I really do. I think it'd be fantastic for the franchise, for the NFL. Just, whenever that you would have like the opening montage of the games coming on television with, Pat Summerall and John Madden, you'd hear Pat Summerall talking about the Redskins and stuff, and they would show sites of Lincoln Memorial and Capitol Building, or the White House or something like that. And so you knew, okay, Redskins are playing, right? And I just to me, I can't wait for this, because I think this is going to be something that it will just. I truly believe in the mental aspect of things, and there's something different about this team playing at RFK than FedEx. And I think that having them back at the RFK site is going to be exciting for this franchise. Now, I'm not saying that this is necessarily going to happen, but it makes way too much sense. The fact that RFK is being demolished, that site's being cleaned, or will be cleaned and ready for new infrastructure to be built there. Now, that's the last thing with this podcast, is talking about the infrastructure. This is probably maybe the only downside, is to me it seems like there probably wouldn't be a lot of land available for infrastructure, and I could be wrong. But you would like to, in today's NFL, owners like to be able to build up infrastructure around the stadium, meaning like, having hotels, shopping, restaurants, that sort of thing, within walking distance of the stadium. Because the thing is, you want to have a full fan experience, not just at the stadium, but around the stadium, right? And not just that, but certainly you're going to plan to have other events at the stadium, concerts and whatever else that you want to have during the off season there. And so, what better way to really make that happen is to make sure that you also have great infrastructure built up around there. Now, those who certainly live up in that area could school me on if it's possible to build that type of infrastructure around the RFK site, or what is around that RFK site. Because, in the past, in my late teens, my family and I, we drove past RFK, and I remember this vividly because I remember driving past RFK, and I think they were having a concert or something because there was a gentleman that was out there like in the median there, urinating. Welcome to DC. So yeah, we all kind of had a laugh at that, but it's about the time when my dad's like, "Hey, look, there's RFK Stadium," and I'm just like, "Oh." I felt like it was sacred grounds, right? And then, of course, you see the guy there urinating. But yeah, I just other than that, I do not have any recollection of the type of land and what's built up around it. So maybe some of you guys who live up that area or have gone to the games a lot back when it was RFK, and of course, yeah, I'm talking to some of the older fans. Maybe you can let me know. Oh yeah, they could build stuff like that around a new stadium there. Or, no, it would just be for the sake of having the team back in DC, and that's pretty much it. Nowadays, owners, again, they like to be able to build their stadiums with the idea that they would be able to host the Super Bowl eventually. And so I'm sure that Josh Harris is thinking the same thing. So would the RFK site be enough and be suitable for something like that? I think that's the question I'm going to leave with all of you. And again, we're just hoping, I'm hoping that I think ultimately this is the best site for the Commanders to be, because I think that's where Washington belongs. They belong in D.C. They're Washington. So that said, let me know in the comments your thoughts on all of this. And I appreciate all of you guys listening to me ramble about this morning. But I will see you in the next one. Take care.